Om Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Sai Ram. This beautiful shloka means as you chant the Rama name, you begin to experience the joy, you begin to experience the nectar of the Rama name, and you are filled with divine consciousness. You are filled with Rama consciousness. And it also says that chanting the Rama name is equal to chanting the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. The merit that you acquire by chanting Rama's name once is equal to chanting the Lord's name infinite number of times, because 1,000 is just a number indicating infinity here. So here we are on the occasion of Rama Navami, with Bhagawan's grace and blessings, praying that we can spend some time chanting this holy name and dwelling on the glory, the profundity, and the relevance of the Rama name and the Rama story. We begin by offering our salutations at Bhagawan's lotus feet. So let's start with one question which a lot of people of this generation tend to ask. When you look at Ramayana, it is something that happened 10,000 years ago. And today is the age of AI, it is the age of machine learning, it is the age of social media, it is the age of cyber wars, it is the age of space technology. I mean, what relevance does Ramayana have in today's times? Because we are saying, what the way life was 10,000 years ago is very different. And today we are leading a completely different life when you look at the way our life is fashioned, the kind of things we do, the way we work, the way we interact. And we are going back to a scripture which is this old. Do we really need to do this? Is there no other better way to learn things about life and living? This can be a question. And what comes to mind is the very fact that in today's time, after 10,000 years, we are still discussing the Ramayana, the very fact that the epic is still alive, the very fact that today those stories are still ringing in the hearts of people, and you have the episodes from Ramayana which are reverberating in the sacred land. I think perhaps that itself is a testimony to the fact that it is really relevant. And we should not be even thinking on those lines whether this is something that we really need to discuss. Is it needed? Bhagawan, in fact, in one discourse says, 10,000 years ago you were eating, you were sleeping, you were singing, you were talking, you were walking. Do you ask, has anything changed? Why are you asking these questions? Whether should you chant the name of God? Should you discuss about the glory of God? Why are you even asking those questions? And at the same time, if you look at it realistically, today, are we not having problems with relationships? Today, are we not having problems with governance? Today, are we not having problems with youth getting into depression? Today, are we not getting overwhelmed with not able to take decisions in life? Today, are we not in a position where we are not able to revere nature? Today, are we in a position where we feel there is order in society? When we know that we are miles away from all of these questions and many more, when we look around, I think it becomes even more pertinent and even more important and even more potent that we have to spend time, and that is perhaps the reason why Bhagavan also in his discourses used to quote so many episodes from the Ramayana, isn't it? And we have had summer courses dedicated on Ramayana, isn't it?
That absolutely. No, as you were saying, when Swami was doing the summer courses for the students, be it in the 70s or later, the summer course we all were part
Yes.
of, I think in 2002, Swami had chosen Ramayana as a topic. In fact, I think 1977 summer course, there was a Ramayana Saptaha within the summer course itself.
Okay.
For 7
And in
days.
those days, summer course were 30 days.
Right, it was a 30
days
day.
Swami was talking only about
Right.
Ramayana.
And the reason why I think Swami was bringing it up is, if you look at the story of Ramayana, keep aside the epic nature of the story, that it's a story of an avatar, that there are demons and things like that. I remember one of the teachers was saying that the way Ramayana is told today has also got to change with times. And one of the Anandapur teachers was saying that she was narrating the story of Ramayana to a young nephew, and was telling about how the arrows were shot and all of that. And she said that they used to chant mantras and they used to fire these arrows. And the little boy looked at her and said, "You mean they were voice-activated missiles?"
Yeah.
Right? And she was saying that how we have to, it is still relevant even in that sense. So many fascinating aspects of the Ramayana. But if you look at the story itself, it seems like a regular story of a kingdom, a prince, and the struggles the prince goes through, the king, and the battle between two kingdoms, and all of that. But still, the idealism of some of the characters in the Ramayana seems so unreal, right? In the story, you get drawn to the story, but then you're caught between it being so surreal and being so human. I think that is where the challenge is. And Swami would often say, this is idealism that you have to raise yourself to. Not only was Rama representative of that idealism, right? That's how the story starts. Valmiki, who writes the Ramayana, is desperate with the thought: can there be an ideal human being?
Right. Yes.
Given his checkered past, he says that is it possible that a human being can actually lead a absolutely ideal life? And then Lord Brahma appears in front of him and says there is a person who has lived like that, who is living like that, because Valmiki is a contemporary of Rama. And then he says you will have visions of his life and you will write about it. So Rama himself represents that ideal person, and as he goes through the various stages of his life, he represented idealism in each of those stages. As a boy, as a youth, as a husband, as a son who has duties towards his parents, as a king, and as a leader. So in every stage he kind of exhibited that idealism. But the other point that Swami says is, because of Rama, all the characters around him also exhibited that idealism. And that's why that story suddenly appears like, appears real, but then it's, too good to be true.
It's interesting because on one side you have the idealism brought out through the story itself. But then in several discourses and even in his Vahinis, Swami has mentioned about the Ramayana that's happening within each one of us.
Yes.
And I think that is also one aspect in which Ramayana is so relevant even today, where I think in the course of the discussion, we will reveal what Swami compares Rama to, what Swami compares Sita, Lakshmana, Hanuman. Every character in the Ramayana is compared to either a quality or an attribute of the human being. And I think this is also a very important aspect, because this is what gives answers to us. When you are caught up in a moral dilemma, what is it that we should do? What is the next step we should do in order to be on the right path? What is it that gives us instant gratification versus what is it that gives us long-lasting results?
Yes.
So I think in a sense...
No, definitely. I think... and that was the most beautiful thing about Bhagawan. Anything that Bhagawan told us, he took us to the depths of that particular concept, that particular epic. And I think when we read Ramakatha Rasavahini, Bhagawan so beautifully, at every episode that he's narrating, he's bringing out the Atma Ramayana concept there. You look at anything, any episode. I think that's why reading Ramkatha Rasmayana is very different than reading any other Ramayana, because here constantly Bhagavan with that goal, because when God has come down again and he's writing that story, now he's writing it in a manner that all those lessons that he wanted us to learn when he enacted the drama, now he's trying to ensure that those are getting instilled. You just look at the case of Bhagavan talks about the day of coronation. Okay, so imagine someone who is going to get an awesome promotion. Imagine someone who is going to become the president of the company. It is because of the merit, it's because of the hard work, it's because he deserves it, and everybody wants it, everybody is looking forward to it, the family is waiting for it, the company is happy about it. There is no one who is not pleased with this idea, and they feel, yeah, this is the thing that should happen. And when all that is happening, on just a few minutes before that happens, suddenly something happens and he's told, we are sorry, you cannot, we cannot give you that position.
You're not only not getting the promotion,
not getting that position,
you have to leave the company.
I mean, okay, it's not even that, okay, you were earlier to be president, now you can become vice president, or after 6 months we will see. It is not even that. As you said, you not only, you have to leave. I mean, whatever you have, give up your family, forget not getting the position, give up your job, give up your family, give up your house, give up your property, give up everything that is own. Wear absolutely bare minimum, just the clothes of a mendicant, and just go to the forest. And you are asked to do this. And the mindset of Rama at that point in time. Swami says there was not even, his muscle did not even flinch.
I think Swami beautifully says the smile that Rama had when he was told he is going to be coronated did not change when he was told he has to leave to the forest.
Exactly. No, in fact, he says, Dasharatha, father, what 14 years I can the whole life I can be in the jungle. Why are you hesitating even to tell me this? Anything that is that will add to the glory of the dynasty, that will keep up the name of the dynasty, and that is your wish. Your wish is my command. And so when we look at that, yes, it appears very idealistic, but I think when we look at our lives, there are so many times when we are expecting something to happen and something else happens. I think our life every day is filled with those kind of ups and downs, and it's a roller coaster ride for everyone. I think that is the lesson here for us. Can we, in those moments, think of Rama and say, okay, I am going to still smile. I am still going to ensure that this is not going to affect my peace. I am going to see how I'm going to make the most of this situation. I think that's a very, very beautiful lesson that we can learn, which we can apply in our lives, isn't it?
Absolutely. The equanimity with which he handled this entire situation. I mean, when the news came, there's a very interesting, subtle point here. So, Rama was getting ready for the coronation. And he is in his own palace, or rather the wing of a palace probably. And Sumantra is asked to go and bring Rama when Dasharatha was in the palace of Kaikeyi. And he's so weak and so fallen that he's doesn't have the energy to say anything. And Sumantra is sent to bring Rama in. And Rama is brought in. And as Rama goes in and he is having this conversation with Mother Kaikeyi and his father, he is, like we discussed, there was no change in his expression, and he was ready to go to the forest. And as he was coming out from the palace, Lakshmana is already standing there. The Valmiki Ramayana records that Lakshmana on his own accord sensed that there was something not all right. Although the whole crowd, everybody was cheering and everybody was very happy, Lakshmana sensed that something is not all right. And I think this is a very, very important lesson in terms of friendship, or in terms of, being sympathetic with another. Like the two brothers, Lakshmana had no reason to go with Rama to the forest. And for him, his heart said something, that something is not all right. And, these kind of incidents where you're so in tune with the Lord. so in tune with the Lord is something we can learn from Ramayana. In fact, I remember this beautiful incident when Swami was on his way to Hatshi. We had to stop at Mr. Jadav's house in Pune. And it was a time, it was not a breakfast time nor a lunch time, around 11:30 time. So we came down from the flight and Swami was there in the house. So on the dining table, they had arranged several dishes. You had idli, vada, puri, pongal, upma. And Swami came and saw this. Swami said, "What is this? I don't take breakfast and this is not the time anyways. Why did you end up doing so many, making so many dishes?" And Swami was just going around the table and one particular dish caught his attention. He just picked up one vada and he asked, "What is this?" And in that part of India, the sabudana vada is very famous. So they said, "Swami, it is sabudana vada." So I said, "Oh, okay." He saw it and just kept it down. Now, as he kept it down, the Mr. Jadhav, who was right behind Swami, in one look, he just looked at his wife who was standing at the entrance of the kitchen and he just nodded his head. And in an instant, she brought a bowl with some dish in it. And Swami said, "What is this now?" And they said, "Swami, it is the same vada cut into small pieces."
Oh.
And when they offered that same vada in small pieces, Swami took a piece and put it in his mouth. So I think to be attuned to the Lord all the time, to be in sync with what is happening, and that kind of alertness, that kind of, being in sync with the Lord is very important if we want to be happy in our lives.
As you're mentioning this, in the Ramakatha Raswani, Swami mentions that when Sumantra comes and calls, so Mother Sita also, she was also so much in tune. So she also tells Rama, because Rama himself says that, there is this call and they're asking us to go to Dasharath in Kaikeyi's chamber. So I'm sensing there is something not okay.
Right.
And Sita at that time says, "Don't worry, Lord, whatever it is, even if, something opposite is going to happen, don't worry at all. We will, whatever happens, we will take it as the will of the divine, and you don't have to worry even a little. Just go and do whatever your father says, because the words of my father-in-law are very, very precious. So just don't have any concerns." I mean, that is the kind of, as you're talking about that sync in the family members. And the other thing that, I got reminded when you're talking about how to handle the situations in equanimity, I was reminded of Raja Reddy sir, someone, who served Swami at close quarters for nearly 25 years. Someone who used to lead bhajans in Mandir for decades. And one fine day, we hear this story, how one fine day Bhagawan comes morning bhajans and Swami says that, the mic should be now taken off from him. And he was the same self. He had absolutely no complaints. He never even mentioned, when there are people who ask, "Did you not feel bad, after so many years of singing, when Swami is just not giving you the chance?" He said, "Why? It was he who gave the chance and it was he who took it. Why should I even complain? Why should I even think?" I think we have seen so many such beautiful devotees who have lived with Swami and they have gone through their ups and downs of life. And they have taken it with that kind of composure, isn't it?
Right. Now, when you're talking about equanimity and, of course, being sensitive, in a way, if you look at it, they are contrary emotions. Right? Equanimity is not being touched by the surroundings.
Right.
Sensitivity is being alert to what is happening around you. Right. And both of these become very important. Right. When we look at the Ramayana, as we were saying, so many examples are there of an ideal wife, like Bishu narrated, of an ideal brother, like how you narrated. Sumantra himself is an example of an ideal minister. In so many places, he shines in his character in that way. One of the things that you can learn from the Ramayana, and as especially for the youngsters, there are two things that you can constantly see almost going parallel through the story. One is idealism in leadership. The other is idealism in being a servitor.
Servant.
Oh, okay.
Right? You can see that in both. And I think it all starts with Dasharatha himself, where Swami says, he, I think, has a dream, or in the night he wakes up to drink water, and he finds that his hand is shivering. Right? The moment he sees that, he says, I need to think of succession. Who's going to take over from this? Right? He says that is how alert the leader is. The leader is not keen on holding on to his position or being an authority. He's saying, I am the caretaker of my people. When I start becoming weak, I have to start worrying about the people. Who's going to take care of them? And, very beautifully, Swami says that, he gets this idea. So I think time has come. I need to coronate Rama. So he calls all the ministers and some senior members of the citizens, and then calls Sage Vasishta, and then he talks about his plan. This is what has happened. I think I have to coronate Rama. And everybody is delighted. They start saying it's a wonderful plan. You should. And then Dasharatha says, I'm very happy that you're all happy with my decision, but the eagerness that you're showing gives me a doubt. Was I a bad king? That you're so delighted to know that I'm going to give my power to my son. Not in a very sensitive way. He said, have I done anything wrong as a leader, as a king? Have I left any stone unturned in taking care of you? That you feel delighted when I say that I'm going to give the reins to Rama. And immediately everybody say nothing like that. It's just that we are so delighted to have Rama as the king, but you have taken care of us just as a father would take care of his children. So, that idealism in leadership, even though Rama portrays that throughout, as we will see certain examples, even someone like Dasharatha, represented that. And that's what Swami says. Even the characters around Rama are very, very good examples in each one of these qualities.
As you see, nobody's attached to the position.
Right.
Everybody is looking at that position as a chance to serve, as a chance to rise higher in their idealism than like how oftentimes in today's world, once people get power, they don't want to lose. They want to do anything to hold on to the chair, hold on to the position. And I think here you have instances where that was the power, or the position was only a beautiful way to sanctify their lives. And I think that is something that you constantly see in Ramayana.
Talking about the leadership and all that, generally the idea, contorted idea about leadership is, we tend to think the higher we go in authority, go in power, the more authority we get and lesser people can question us.
Oh.
Right? That's the general idea. Right? When you're a subordinate, you have to answer to so many people. The higher you raise, the lesser the number of people who can question you. But actually, ideal leadership is the other way around.
Yes.
The higher you go, the more responsible you become. Right? You will have to raise yourself to a state where you're beyond question. Right? Not that nobody can question me.
Yes.
I should live my life in such a way that nobody can question me. Right? And that's what you see throughout the Ramayana in different stages, where Swami would tell the moment when Rama and Mother Sita are getting married. As per the rituals, they chant a mantra which means that Rama, will you vow that you will never let go of Sita at all times?
Yes.
And he says, I can't take this vow.
Yes.
He says, because I am likely to become the king after this, and the king's first duty is always to the people. If at some point I have to make a decision between my subjects and my family, I'll have to choose the welfare of my subjects. So as a king, I cannot take this vow. Though this is a vow that every husband has to take, but because I will rise to the power of a king, I cannot take this. Right? So that is, you're always one step ahead where nobody can question you. And you take same example of Dasharatha. It's like, doesn't wait till people tell him that you're too old to continue.
Exactly.
And at every stage you find that Rama is, when he takes this vow that he'll go and live in the forest.
Yeah.
And he says, I will not step into a city, and this is a word I give my father. At some places in the Ramayana, you'll see that nobody questions him, but he follows it. When he takes the friendship of Sugriva, and Sugriva actually, after he is coronated, forgets about the promise he gives. And Rama says that, it's time to remind Sugriva. He sends Lakshmana. He says, I can't step into a city. So you should go. Similarly, when Guha asks Rama to come into his settlement to bless it. He says, no, I've taken a vow, I can't. So I think he climbs a tree and Guha tells him, at least look at my village and it'll prosper. Similarly, towards the end, right, the whole battle has been fought. He has crossed the ocean and so much of trouble has been taken. After that, Rama doesn't ask for Sita to be brought or doesn't go to Ashokvana to see Sita. He says, I have defeated Ravana. If I go and fetch Sita now, it is the same thing what Ravana did to me. He says, so the first thing I should do is I should coronate Vibhishana. Vibhishana, being the emperor of Lanka, then can come and hand over Mother Sita to me. He says at every point, he kept himself above scrutiny. In spite of that, we scrutinize him, and that's the level of the human mind in the modern age, I guess. But that is one of the signs of leadership, that, the higher you go, the more ideal and the more, very, very careful you should be the way you carry yourself. And I think we would see that even in Swami, right?
Exactly.
Nobody would question Swami's actions, but Swami kept himself, above that, following protocols which he didn't have to, taking permissions which he didn't have to.
That reminds me of, when Mr. Jayanta Bose, who was very involved in the construction of super specialty hospital, Bhagawan, in the month of May, June, Swami gives the responsibility to Jayanta Bose. And in that interview, he's there, his wife is there. And Swami is looking at Mr. Jayanta Bose's wife and asking, see, this hospital construction is going to start and I want your husband to look after the construction. If you permit, can I have him stay in Prasanthi for 4-5 months so that he can, be involved in the construction work? And, his wife was speechless, obviously. She was, Swami, why are you asking me? And Mr. Jayanta Bose, whenever he recalls that episode, I remember, there would be tears in his eyes. He would always think, why does Bhagawan have to even ask me? But Swami would do it. I mean, I think that is the sensitivity that we are talking about. I think there are so many occasions. I know of instances where there is a student who's playing a female character, and I remember Brother Eskumar sharing this, how Swami says, you will have to play the role of Radha, and maybe boys will tease you in the hostel. Are you okay? I hope it is not something that you're not comfortable with. So you had Bhagavan constantly being so sensitive and telling us about how a leader should be. There is no reason for him to do this. There is no need for him to do this, but he would do this. And I think for anybody working in an institution, be it the leader or an employee, the reputation of the institution, the reputation, the growth, and the name of the institution should be always foremost. And when you think about even Hanuman, when he meets Sita, and Hanuman is so eager to bring Sita back, and so in so many ways he tries to tell Mother Sita, what, I have come, you don't worry, you just come, I'll take you back on my shoulders. Of course, Sita gives so many reasons, but one of the reasons which Sita gives is, see, we cannot do anything which will bring disrepute to Rama. See, when you look at Rama as that institution, we cannot do anything which tomorrow people will say that, just like Ravana brought Sita to Lanka, lifted and brought, now Rama also took, Sita back without a proper ceremony and without a proper way of doing things. So whatever we do, to be always mindful of where we come from, and are we doing the right thing which is contributing to the growth and the reputation of the institution which has made us what we are. And I think that's again a very important thing.
This whole episode of Hanuman coming to Mother Sita, like you said, brings out these very, very important lessons of, are we doing the right thing? In what we call the Adhyatma Ramayana, or the spiritual interpretation of Ramayana, Swami says that Hanuman is courage.
Yes.
Hanuman stands for courage. And, when Swami says, Utsaham, Sahasam, Dhairyam, Buddhi, Shakti, Parakramam, these are the qualities you need for success of any activity. So in that, courage is very much a part of it. And because Hanuman was a part of that project, so the project was successful and he represented courage. But then what happens is, when he comes to Mother Sita and when he sees the condition in which she is in, and he is not able to take that, he is not able to, tolerate this kind of injustice, and he forgets everything else and he says, "Come, mother, I'll take you on my back. It's just a matter of seconds. I can take you on my back. Instantly, I can take you to have darshan of Lord Rama." And that's when Mother Sita gives this explanation, saying that, so, sometimes what happens is, when we have courage, it is good for our progress and our success. But courage should not lead us into doing something which is not right. So the perspective, the overall perspective of what exactly is right at that point in time has to always govern over everything else.
You can get over enthusiastic
You
sometimes.
can get over enthusiastic, you can get courage should not turn into arrogance. It should not turn into arrogance. It should not give you a feeling that now I can do anything. So I think that is a very subtle lesson, although Lord Hanuman is the epitome of humility. But in that instant, his whole offer to take Mother Sita on his back, I think this teaches us a very important lesson.
And I think, again, when you look at it, Sita also reminds, there will be questions asked, because ultimately character is most important. As Bhagawan always mentioned, Swami's that favorite quote of Bhagawan, if there is righteousness in the heart, there will be beauty in character. And if there is beauty in character, there will be harmony in the home. If there is harmony in the home, there will be order in the nation. And when there is order in the nation, there will be peace in the world. And I think that whole Ramayana is encapsulated in this, because all Ramayana is all about, the relationships in the family, in the society, leading on to the nation. So again, there, Sita did not want Hanuman to engage in any act which could be questioned by society. He says, as Swami says, you should not only do good, you should always appear also to be good. It's very important that we don't do anything which someone tomorrow can say that maybe this was not appropriate. And I think that's the why Sita says, I cannot come onto and sit on your shoulders. That's the same thing. Swami used to always give the example of Lakshmana, isn't it, when it comes to character?
See, Lakshmana is a very, very interesting part of Ramayana, because Swami has, compared Lakshmana to so many different aspects. In some cases, Swami says Lakshmana is like the mind. In some cases, Swami said Lakshmana is like the jiva. A very beautiful incident where Swami is telling, Rama is walking in the front, Mother Sita in the middle, and Lakshmana behind. And he says Mother Sita is like Maya, in between the mind and the Lord. So if the jivi, if the individual wants to have darshan of the Lord, he has to handle Maya. Either he tells Maya slightly move to the side, but then Maya can get offended. So he has to request Maya and tell her that please can I also have the darshan of the Lord. So there's a sense of knack that is involved in that. But speaking about character and speaking about the virtues of a good character, I think there is no debate on that. And in fact, one of the discourses, Swami says that in every avatar, only one or two people recognize the power of that avatar. And in the Rama avatar, he says it was Lakshmana, who was aware that Lord Rama is Bhagawan. And but as Swami often told us in Trai sessions and in discourses, he enacted several incidents to bring out the great virtues in the character of Lakshmana. And this beautiful story which Swami has narrated in his discourses, where Mother Sita is lying down and she is placed her head on the lap of Lord Rama. And then Rama wanted to get up and do some work. So he says, he calls Lakshmana and says, see, let us not disturb her. And he places her head on his lap. And then Swami goes on to say that Lord Rama is a part of the test. Yes. So he becomes a parrot and he goes and sits on a tree. And he's noticing whether Lakshmana, what is the attitude he's having towards Sita. And then he says his heart was only having the attitude of a mother. And this, I think, is a very, very important lesson for youth of today. How all of them were probably teenagers at the time. And how what is the way you should look at others, and you should look at your brother's wife, and the whole shining character of Lakshmana comes out in this episode.
I think what you're mentioning is so profound and so relevant for today's times, especially when you're in that age, and very difficult at times to rein in your temptations. And though this is an incident which Bhagawan has narrated so many times to students, but it's worth repeating, where Bhagawan always would say that, when the jewels were dropped and Lakshmana was asked to select the jewels that were brought by the Vanaras, and Rama asked Lakshmana, can you identify Sita's jewelry? And Lakshmana says, I can only identify the toe rings, because that is the only thing I know, because every morning I would wake up and I would offer my salutations to the mother. So those are the only jewelry of mother that I recognize. And Bhagavan used to say this on a number of occasions. And if you look at Ramayana, one central theme of Ramayana is all about controlling desire. I mean, we know that, when the drama starts, and because Sita desired for the golden deer, then, she was away from Rama. You look at Shurpanakha, because she had an unholy desire towards Rama and Lakshmana. That's when the whole Ramayana took a different turn. Similarly, when Shurpanakha goes to Ravana and he explains about all this, and she describes about Sita, Ravana has not even seen Sita, but Ravana gets those not so good thoughts about Sita. And that's when, so if you see the whole story, when I think about it, 10,000 years ago, Rama, Lord has enacted this story knowing this is the weakness of man, and it's so important to be able to overcome this. And time and again, I think you would see that in Ramayana, and that's why Bhagavan used to always say that you have to learn to channelize your desires. You have to, you cannot absolutely annihilate your desires, but you can control them, you can channelize them. I think that is one of the central themes of Ramayana, isn't it?
Right. All the stories that we've been narrating, especially the episode of Hanuman going in search of Sita, as we were saying in the beginning, there is one aspect of idealism, each character exhibiting idealism. But at the end of the day, the story is that of God and devotees. Right? Rama being the God, and devotees coming in different roles. As a brother, as a wife, as a servitor in the form of Hanuman. So Swami would often bring our attention to that these are all lessons for a devotee in his journey of devotion to the God, to God. And just like how Mother Sita says that this is inappropriate, I can't come with you. Just like how it was inappropriate for Ravana to bring me, it was inappropriate for you, being a male, to bring me. That's the thing she gives. Another beautiful angle that Swami gives is, Hanuman goes there. Swami explains how he first searches in all the palaces. And then he kind of reprimands himself. He says, how can I search in the palace? How can I think that Mother Sita, who has been separated from Rama, will be living in luxury? Right? And that's when he eventually meets Vibhishana, and Vibhishana gives him the news. And then he comes to Ashokvana, and then he witnesses in what misery she is living. That she is in such pain in this separation. And at that moment when he goes, he sees that she's actually shedding profuse tears, and then he calls out, starts singing the glory of Rama. And that's when she hears, and first she thinks that is this another asura who has come in the form of a devotee, and that whole thing. And then when he makes this offer, I will take you back to Rama. So then Mother Sita says, no, I can't. Right? And Swami explains this whole thing, and he says, what Sita was exhibiting was a pativrata guna.
Okay.
Right? The nature of a chaste woman who is extremely devoted to the husband. Then Swami says, but this nature of pativrata guna should be there even in devotion. Right? You might be in extreme misery. You are crying out to the Lord, but you should insist that the Lord should come and rescue me.
Yes.
Right? Even the one who is dearest to the Lord, who is Hanuman, comes and says, I will help you. He'll say, no, my God will come. My Swami will come to my rescue, and I am ready to wait for him. There are no intermediaries between me and my Swami. Right? Swami says, in devotion, when you have that pativrata guna, then your devotion becomes perfect.
That's what.
And I think when you have that kind of a devotion, what I'm also reminded
God
is,
will cross even the ocean.
yeah,
to come
God
to
will
your
cross even the
rescue.
ocean, and God is also eager to do what you want. Like, for example, when Sita sees the golden deer, Lakshmana says, "I will go and get it," and Rama says, "No, no, it is Sita's wish. I want to fulfill it." And Rama says, "No, I want to go. Lakshmana, you take care of mother, but I want to fulfill the devotee's wish." And I think that's how eager God also becomes once you are so tuned to, and He will do anything for you, isn't it?
The while we're talking about God coming and doing playing his role, when he gives us an opportunity to play a role in his mission, like the same mission of Hanuman going across the ocean to meet Mother Sita, there Swami gives very beautiful lessons that we can take from that one leap across the ocean. So first, as Hanuman is going, there is a mountain peak that comes up in his way, and this Mainaka peak comes
Yes,
up,
yes.
and basically the mountain peak was hiding in the ocean.
Yes.
There's a long story behind that, and Lord Vayu has helped the mountain peak to hide inside the ocean. So as a sign of gratitude, having known that Hanuman is the son of Vayu is flying across, the mountain wanted to offer gratitude and give him some rest. But Hanuman is so careful and so clear about his mission, he does not want to break it at any cost. But at the same time, he cannot offend the mountain. And so with sweet words, he tries to tell, "See, I am in a hurry, I don't have time." But then the mountain says, "Just for a second, why don't you take rest?" So he just, just touches the mountain, and then he goes his way. And then the second obstacle that comes is Surasa, is a demoness. And it's a strange thing because some of the devas, they send this Surasa to test Hanuman, how steadfast he is in his in the fulfillment of Lord mission. Rama's mission. So the boon that Sarasa has is that anything that crosses past her should go into her mouth and she would devour that. And so that is what she tells Hanuman. She stops him and she says, "See, you cannot disobey the boon given to me by Lord Brahma." Yes. And this is a tight situation. But then Hanuman asks her, "What are the exact words that Brahma says?" And Brahma says that anything that goes this side should go into my mouth. He says, "Oh, that's all, is it?" So then he suddenly remembers his powers to expand his form. He grows bigger and bigger and bigger, and then the demoness opens her mouth bigger and bigger and bigger. In an instant, he becomes a small form, takes a small form and just goes into her mouth and comes out. And he says, "See, I have fulfilled the wish of Brahman, and at the same time, now let me pass." So she is amazed at his knack and the wit that he had. And then the last is, of course, Simhika, who is the demoness who catches the shadow. Of Hanuman. And then he says, he realizes there is no way he's going to escape from her. So then he actually goes into her stomach and then expands there and tears out and comes. And I think Swami gives some very interesting explanation for these three stages. He says the first one is the mountain is like well-wishers, friends, parents, anybody who wants to give you, who want to do good to you.
Yes.
And they are full of gratitude. They want to help you. But probably they don't have a complete understanding, or their ideas are misplaced. So they may not be able to help you in the right manner.
What is good for you?
What is good for you? So, you have to be obliging.
So in a way, that is a challenge. It's a sattvic challenge.
It's a sattvic
it's
challenge.
a sattvic challenge. I mean, there are, you want to, for example, stay all night for Akhanda Bhajan, and somebody in the family can tell, no, why you want to do that? You will get weak, you will get tired, and it could be anything. You maybe you want to go on a Sunday to do seva, and then somebody else will come. It's okay. You don't have to exert yourself. There could be all these sattvic challenges in our life.
So you have to speak to them properly and explain to them.
One good example, I remember one of my classmates before he joined Swami's college. He used to be part of this youth group. They used to go every weekend to do seva and all that. And he was studying engineering. So his father was not too pleased. He said, "You're not concentrating on your studies. This is a very important phase in your life. You have to focus on your career and all that." And he tried telling that, we're going out for this volunteer work. So father said, I know what volunteering work at this age you fellows will do. You must be going and having a good time. And this used to be a constant fight between the father and the son. And one time when they had come for Swami's darshan, Swami in the interview brought this up. And, this boy said, Swami, like this, my father keeps becoming an obstacle in Swami's work. Then Swami said, see, from where he's coming, he's right. Right? He's only concerned about you, and he's only worried that in the name of some seva or some voluntary service, you're doing something wrong. All you have to do is take him along with you for one of the sevas. Let him see what you do in a weekend. Then he'll never stop you. He'll start becoming an encouragement to you.
Beautiful.
And he says that's exactly what happened. The next time when they went for seva, he took his father along, and then he said, oh my God, you all are doing such good work, and not a moment is being wasted here. So, the perfect example of what Swami says, the obstacle which is sattvic, as you said, has to be dealt with love and with by using tact.
So the next obstacle is surasa, where he had to go into her mouth and come out. Yes. And these are like, rules and regulations that are put across for the betterment of an organization, probably. Yes. It may not be convenient to you, correct, but you should have the knack to handle it and not get caught in it. And of course, the third one is simhika, who actually catches you. And it is like somebody who's trying to catch you by your weaknesses and by your drawbacks. But then what you have to do is just face it head on and then overcome those obstacles. So I think the lessons that we get just in that leap which Hanuman took from this side of the ocean to the other side is immense.
No, I think that's is very powerful what you're mentioning, especially, when we are doing sai work, there could be sattvic challenges, as you said. And the second thing about surasa, that is kind of a rajasic challenge. So where, there is somebody who has created a very difficult situation for you, and you have to use your knack. You cannot escape the situation. Like, for example, I remember there was someone who had to attend a corporate board meeting, and in that meeting, everybody was drinking, and there is no way he cannot hold that glass. So what did he do? So as these discussions were going on and as people were talking to each other, so quietly he would go and, drop a little of that in one of the flower pots there. so slowly he had his own way of ensuring that he's there in the situation, but he's not becoming a party to it. But I think we all there could be very difficult situations for us. We are in some meeting. We may have to eat some non-veg. We may have to certain time. We think that we cannot. I have to do this. But at that time we have to remember. No, let me think how to be in the situation. But pray to Swami. I'm sure Bhagawan will give some idea, some way, so that you will. There are people who hold tumblers which look like wine or something, but it is not that. I think we all have to think about situations and look for solutions. And I think once we pray, we'll get. And the last, what you mentioned about the simhika is the tamasic challenge, as Bhagawan says. Tamasic challenge are, for example, I think every morning, suppose you want to get up, and it's your laziness which is obstructing. You want to get up and go for Nagar Sankirtan 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and still your body is not allowing you. So you will have to hit it. You'll have to go head on. You can't start a conversation with your body. You can't start in any way trying to look at solutions. The only solution is just get up. You have to deal head on with laziness, with that kind of situation. But I think for all of us doing sai work, it becomes really important.
Another point that in the Valmiki Ramayana is mentioned is the moment the demoness catches Hanuman, he recognizes who she is. Right. Because he has knowledge about her. Yes. Sugriva tells him that when you're crossing, there is one demoness somewhere like this. So Valmiki says, you should be aware of the flaws in you, right? Because your flaws are bringing you down. The being pulled by the shadow means you're being pulled by your weaknesses. Yes. So you should be aware of it, and when your weaknesses are being challenged, you should be ready to sublimate them.
And because of all of this, Hanuman became stronger.
Stronger.
He became stronger, and as you said, the devatas had planned all this so that he exercises and he remembers all his powers. So I think only when we deal with these challenges, say for example, going with the same story of not being able to get up in the morning, I think if you do it a few times, if you're able to forcefully take your body head on and get up, slowly you'll develop that willpower. And you'll begin that, no matter whatever time, the moment it is 5 o'clock, you will wake up. And I think those are some very beautiful ways Hanuman has told us how to be a servant of the Lord.
And I think Hanuman is just one of the examples of the people who served the Lord, right? If Hanuman was in one spectrum of the scale, I mean, one end of the spectrum, the other end is, of course, Swami says about the little squirrels which wanted to contribute in some way. But then that's the beauty, throughout the story, there are various people who either participated in the mission or recognized the glory of just being part of that story. Right, you find a lot of them like that. I mean, one contrast when Swami writes in the Ramgatha, I thought it was very fascinating. In a way, when we all participate in Swami's mission, right, and we all participate in a way that, in some way, we are going to become part of that legacy. But how do we want to be a part of that legacy, right? The story of Maricha. Right? They say that when Maricha, Ravana calls him and he says, this is the thing you have to do. By then, Maricha is actually aware that Rama is divinity come in human form.
He's already had one
and
encounter.
He tries to advise Ravana. He says, don't do this. This is going to... So Ravana says, see, you have only one choice. Either you go and do this or I'm going to finish you off. Right? And Maricha thinks it is better to die in the hands of Rama than to die in the hands of Ravana. Right? So he recognizes the opportunity which is there.
Yes.
And when I read this part, I thought, see, if he really wanted to serve Rama, at that time when he's calling out to Lakshmana and Sita, he could have just told Lakshmana, don't come, this is not me. Right? Anyways, he has been shot. He is going to die. Right? He could have told that at least at that last dying moment, if he had thought that let me do Rama Karya. He didn't, he wanted to be on the right side of the legacy, but he was not ready to serve. On the other hand, Swami speaks of somebody like Jatayu. Jatayu tries the best to stop Ravana, is not able to do it. Finally, the wings are chopped and he's lying down there. And I think in one of the discourses, Swami makes this point, which is very, very moving. Jatayu starts rolling on the dust to stop the bleeding so that the bird can be alive till Rama comes and he can pass on the information. Right? The bird could have told that I've done my best, let me die in peace. No, even if it means me, suffering for a little longer, if I can do a little more of Swami's work, let me do. The difference in somebody participating in Swami's legacy and saying that, no, the mission is more important, and even if it means suffering from my end, if I can serve more, let me serve.
And as you're mentioning about Jatayu, little is known about his brother, Sampati. Sampati is also a part of this whole story of Ramayana, where in fact he says in the childhood they both had a competition to fly towards the sun. And Sampati was the more egoistic and the stronger one. And Jatayu gave up and came back, but filled with ego, he went closer to the sun, and that's when his wings were burnt. And then he was lying there, and a sage came and advised him that, you should not be egoistic. And he advised him that, then he learnt his lesson, and he says, I want to be a part of this great story of the Lord. And then I think the sage blesses him, and he says that in Treta Yuga, when Rama comes, when the monkeys are searching, when they're on their way to find Mother Sita, you should be here and you should guide them. And when you give the right advice, your wings will grow back. So I think, so he is waiting patiently for a long time. And on that particular day, he goes for doing the rites of Jatayu. And when he is in the seashore, that is when all the monkeys come. And then he is able to give them the exact location of where Mother Sita is. And the other person is, Swami mentions in Ramkatha Raswahini, Swayam Prabha. She is also, the daughter of a Gandharva. And when she was doing penance, Lord Brahma comes and asks her, what do you want? And she says, I want to have the darshan of the Lord as a human being when he is on earth.
Yes.
And then Lord Brahma says, yes, but you should play a role in it.
Yes.
And then she says yes. And then, so she waits patiently for a long time. I think this quality, this virtue of patience is something we can take home. And Swayam Prabha was waiting for a long time. And when the monkeys come, she offers them fruits and all that.
Yes.
And then she says, see, I've been waiting for a long time. Then they tell the story of Rama, and she says, now that the first part of the boon has taken place, I'm sure I'll have the darshan of the Lord soon. And she also guides them towards Lanka. I think this virtue of patience cannot be better explained than the story of Shabari.
Oh yeah, yeah, Shabari. But when you were mentioning about Sampati, what occurred to me is, if you look at Sampati, because he wanted to do something out of ego, he lost his wings. But the moment he started doing God's work,
Right.
his wings came back. And I think that is such a beautiful thing. The moment we start doing something for God, we will see that we can fly. But if we do the same thing with ego, our wings will be burnt.
Literally.
Yeah, I mean that's what often happens. I mean that is the story that Hanuman also tells, because any number of times, whenever Hanuman was asked, "Who are you?" only thing he said, "I am the servant of Rama." We need not go into the details, but I think you look at any instance of Hanuman, when Sita questions, "How did you come to Ashokavana? There's Lankini. There are so many demonesses. It's such a dreadful place." No, it's only because of Rama. It's nothing about me. When Rama asks Hanuman, "How did you jump and how did you come back?" And he says, "Oh, Rama, that's because I had your ring. It is that ring of your grace. Because I had your ring, I went. Otherwise, I am nothing. I am absolutely nothing." But talking about this, everybody thinking, what role can I play in the mission? And I think you mentioned about Shabari, and you again, such a powerful story. When you look at the story of this noble soul, she belonged to the tribal class, and they say that when she was small, that his father is going to get her married, and as part of the marriage, father wanted to do a sacrifice, and she said, "What kind of a life I'm going to lead? What kind of a happy life is my father asking me to lead, where this life is built on the blood of an animal? I don't want such a life." And she leaves the father's home, and next morning when they wake up, the bride is nowhere to be seen, and she goes and hides in one of the bushes near sage Matanga's ashram. And because sage Matanga's ashram did not have any woman, and so women were prohibited there, so that was a safe place. So whenever when all his father's family members, they searched for her, but they didn't find her, and she continued to stay there. And look at Shabari every morning, because she knew that she cannot get a place in Matanga's ashram. Every morning, Bhagawan so beautifully writes in Ramakatha Rasavahini that she would wake up before the sunrise, before the sages, before Matanga Muni and the disciples go for bath. And on that path, she would remove all the thorns and all the pebbles, and she would do it much before they come, and she would roll on the ground to see that the ground is clear. And she did that for years, and nobody knew about it. She would do it much before the sage came. And after so many years of such penance, one day, the sage calls her out from the bushes and says, "What are you doing? Your body will get disintegrated with this kind of a service. You come and stay in the ashram." And she comes and stays in the ashram. And then Bhagavan says, with time, it's time for Matanga Muni to go. And she says, "Sage, if you are leaving, I don't want to be here. There's no meaning for me. I want to also go." That is when Matanga Muni says, "You are going to have a privilege that I don't have. You're going to play a role in Rama's mission. If you stay on, then you will get that chance of not only seeing Rama, you will be able to guide Rama, and you will be part of the search of Rama for Sita. So you stay on, and if you stay, even my hut will get sanctified, because Rama will come to this hut." And that is how Shabari stays. And we know the story of Shabari about, how even though she was unlettered, for Rama, when they say that, Lakshmana was so happy when Rama was asking and eating those berries, because after Sita left, Rama was not eating at all. because of that separation. And he's seeing, here is one day when Rama is asking again and again, what is this? What is there in those berries? That my Rama today, I get the choicest fruits from the forest, my Rama never eats. And it's today, my Rama is asking and eating those berries which she has already bitten. I mean, that is Swami used to know. Rama is Bhava Priya. Sai Rama is Bhava Priya. I think that's what we saw. I think quickly what comes to mind is that story of the groundnut lady. There was in 97, 98, when this Bharat Cultural Integration Committee, 3 days of music programs are going on. And the brother who was serving Swami narrates how one day Swami came, and as Bhagawan was returning to the Pune Chandra auditorium where Bhagawan was staying, Swami saw one old lady, and Swami stretched his hand and picked a bag. And it was a torn bag, a very worn out bag. And Swami's hand was full. One hand was full of letters, and the other bag Swami was holding this. So this brother who was waiting to receive Swami at Pune Chandra auditorium, he thought, he will take that bag because obviously bag will be heavy. It looked heavy also. But Swami is not willing to give that. He's giving only the letters. Not giving the bag. And then Swami, with a lot of excitement, Swami goes and he calls this brother and 2-3 others who are staying with him, and the music is going on in the stage, Pune Chandra auditorium, and Swami calls these 2-3 brothers, and Swami opens that bag, and in that bag are groundnuts which have been cleaned, which have been baked, which have been polished, which have been made very nice. And Swami takes one after one those groundnuts, and Swami himself peels, and Swami eats, Swami gives. So these brothers, they tried to do that seva. They wanted to remove the husk and give it to Swami. He said, no, I want to do this. So Swami himself would remove the groundnut husk, and Swami would not only himself eat, but he would give to these brothers. And it was like a child. So that whole place became dirty. It didn't bother to Swami. Swami was and for brothers, it was again a moment of such joy, because we know how much Swami eats. Swami would never eat. By the time you start Brahmarpanam and finish Brahmarpanam, Bhagavan has already eaten. But here is the day when Swami is constantly eating, and Swami is telling us, you don't eat too much. You will spoil your stomach. But he's happy. He's eating those groundnuts. And later on, this brother wanted to know what is the thing, and Swami never revealed. But after 2 days, Swami brings this bag, and Swami tells his brother, go and keep it in the interview room. And this brother was very curious. Swami, you should tell me. And Swami said, no, see, this lady, from very early times, when I used to go to devotees' homes and eat in Prasanthi Mandir, this lady, she comes from a very poor background. So she always had that desire that I should serve, I should be able to make and offer Swami something. But she didn't have those kind of privileges. So she went back home in her little plot of land. She used to grow groundnuts, and with so much love and care, she would, remove those groundnuts. She would clean them, she would sunbathe them, again clean them. So she took so much pains to ensure that the best of groundnuts come, and she would bring this, and every year she would come. And Swami says, how can I not take those groundnuts? And that bag is that same old bag. So I told you, keep it in the interview room. Tomorrow I will call her and give it back.
He has to return the bag.
He has to return the bag. So,
Such
and
a
I think
beautiful story.
what comes to mind is Swami says in Ramakatha Rasmaini also, what is Rama? Rama is nothing but Karuna, Swami says. I mean, the heart of Rama is Karuna. The heart of Ramayana is Rama, and the heart of Rama is Karuna. And that's what probably we have seen in Sai Rama also all his life, isn't it?
Very true. Just talking about the whole story, and we started with the idealism of the characters and all of that. Once, I think in Swami's presence, one of the scholars was speaking. We had one, I think, Ramayana Saptaha, where the talks were given by scholars in Telugu. So each day, one of the khandas was spoken about. So one of the points that one of those scholars made when he was talking about the Ayodhya Kanda, a very interesting point. He said, Ayodhya, the word itself means that which cannot be won over. Right? Swami says Ayodhya was an impregnable city. But he said the other meaning is where nobody wins. Right? In a battle where nobody wins is Ayodhya. And he says, if you see the Ayodhya Kanda, it is full of defeats. Right? He says Dasharatha wanted to crown Rama. He was defeated. He couldn't do it. Kaikeyi wanted Bharata to be crowned. She was defeated. Bharata wanted to bring back Rama. He was defeated. Rama wanted Bharata to rule. He was defeated because Bharata took the sandals of Rama and he went away to Nandigrama. So he said that this whole portion of Ramayana, in fact the entire Ramayana, everybody loses. Love triumphs.
Love times.
Right?
Love.
Love and selflessness triumphs. Because in this one, even Rama says, I can't convince Bharata because it is coming from a place of such purity and such love, and I cannot overrule him. Right? And finally, I think that is the same thing which is told to Bharata. He said, Bharata, your love has defeated
You have
Rama,
only one.
but true love is that which does the bidding of the beloved. So you have to ask Rama what he wants and you have to do accordingly. And that's when Bharata says, okay. So everybody in their attempt loses, but only love triumphs. And in fact, that is the basis of the whole thing, right? In brotherhood, it is selflessness and love that is most important. In serving, it is not about what I like and how will I be able to serve, how will I, my legacy, continue. It's all a bit about going in the background and serving the Lord. Same thing with the relationship between a husband and a wife, and same thing in the case of a leader also. A leader is one who is able to put himself or herself behind and think of the whole. Right, and that whole is in the single word Ayodhya. It is there.
The triumph of love. In fact, when you talk about this Rama's Karuna, when I think about it, you look at Angada. He is the son of Vali, and Rama actually killed Vali, but Angada became a devotee of Rama. I mean, that is the power of Rama's love. And Vibhishana coming in, when Vibhishana came also, everybody opposed. But it was that love of Rama which accepted Vibhishana, and that is what, again, was a game changer when you look at the whole sequence of events in Ramayana. And talking about Bali, this one little thing that comes to mind is how God always, as we discussed, he's only Bhava Priya. God is nothing but reaction, reflection, resound. And we have seen that with Swami, the same situation when someone goes to Bhagawan, Bhagawan will respond in one way. And when someone else goes, Swami will respond in a different way. You cannot ever draw a pattern because he's only looking at the heart and the feeling. And, one thing that Bhagawan mentions in this Vali Sugriva episode is, if Rama wanted, Rama could have killed Bali. The first attempt, we know that Vali Sugriva, the duet happens, and Rama says, no, I could not identify Vali. And how could Rama not identify, So Sugriva says, Rama, is this really true that, you couldn't distinguish me from Vali? Then Rama says, see, the thing is, before Vali went for war, when Tara, his wife, said, no, you don't go, it is Rama. And you are not going to win. Sugriva will not come and shout and, give such a clarion call for war unless he had Rama's support. Vali says, if that is true, if it is really Rama, then Rama is Samadrishti. Rama is one who has equal vision. So then why should I worry? So I will go. No problem. Rama will not do that. And so Swami says, because of that, because Vali had believed in that. And that is the reason why I also had to have Samadrishti. I could not distinguish, because Swami says Vali's devotion also is great. He also deserves the grace of God. You also deserve the grace of God. But after this fight, Sugriva, because after that fight, Rama came and just touched Sugriva and all his wounds just disappeared. And Sugriva's devotion and surrender after that reached a new level. But Bali's ego reached a new level. After that, Vali felt he is invincible now. And then Rama gives this, on Sugriva he puts this garland of love, of that prema bandham, that mala that he puts, so that now he is distinguishable. So Rama says, now you go. Now you have that special bond of love with me. Now nothing will happen. I will take care. But I think that is such a profound message for all of us. God will respond the way we look at him. If we say he is my friend, if we say he is my benefactor, if we say he is my master, that is how he will respond. And from every character in Ramayana, perhaps that is the powerful lesson. I think if you look at so many characters, everybody knew that their end is in the hands of Rama. And everybody willing, like moths going to fire, everybody said, yeah, we want to go this way because there is no better way. Even Vali says, when Rama says to Vali, I can give you back your life now. He says, no, Rama, don't do that. Where will I get such a chance where I'm breathing my last looking at your form? I won't get this chance again. Even the army of Kharadushana, they were going off all this, looking at the beauty of Rama, they didn't want to fight. Then Kharadushana, they say that if you go back, we will kill you. Say, okay, fine, we'll go. we will die in the hands of Rama. Why should we? I think that is the story of every person in Ramayana. So that deep interest to do something for Rama, to play a little role in Rama's drama, and thus sanctify our lives. I think that is the beautiful story of Ramayana. And talking about roles, I remember many years ago, there was this occasion when Bhagawan had called all the ashram inmates to Purnachandra Auditorium. And Swami apparently was very upset. And Swami asked Mr. Kutum Rao, who was the secretary of the ashram, to speak to all the ashram inmates. All the doors were closed. And Mr. Kutum Rao actually reprimanded everyone, saying that, you're not following the ashram discipline. You have come here for sadhana and you're socializing and you're engaging in gossip. And he ended, rather, as he was speaking, he said, you're not doing enough for Swami. The moment he said that, Swami stopped Kutum Rao, sir. Swami said, you said. And Bhagavan took the mic. And Swami said, whatever Kutum Rao said is correct, except for that last statement, that you're not doing enough for Swami. I'm saying you don't have to do anything for Swami. You don't have to do absolutely anything for Swami. This whole ashram has been set up to give you different roles so that you can play your roles and thus sanctify your life. If Rama wanted, he could have just told Ravana, die, Sita, come. And Ramayana would have got over. But why did all of this epic happen? It was only to give chance to Vanaras, to stones, to pebbles, to so many demigods, so many humans. Everybody had to have the chance, and they wanted that joy of being part of, being able to play a little role. And I think the same thing Bhagavan has done, and he continues to do. He has given all of us these little roles to play. And as long as we play those roles with our mind on Rama, just like Hanuman and all these characters of Ramayana have shown us, that is how we will also sanctify our lives. With this prayer to Bhagavan, that on this Rama Navami, let these beautiful tenets and lessons that Bhagavan has given us, painstakingly writing Ramkatha Rasavahini for 91 months in the year from 1969 till 1977, for 8 years. No matter what was happening in the Sai mission, it was actually a very busy, when you look at Bhagavan's Avtaric mission, it was a very busy mission. The colleges were set up and organization had started. It was such a busy time. But Bhagavan every month painstakingly wrote Ramkatha Rasavahini, and he wrote it, as we said, for 91 months. So let us spend some time reading the Ramkatha Rasavahini. There is also now a new portal of the Media Center, ssspeaks.org, where you can access all the Vahinis. So let us spend at least 91 minutes reading Ramkatha Rasavahini and use Ram Navami to ensure that Sai Rama gets installed in our words, thoughts, and our actions. Thank you so much. Sai Ram.